an NRI counselor, and today I'm going to talk about the frustrations that single NRI men face while living abroad. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the blog post that I've made and talk a little bit about each paragraph. Now, the first thing is that this topic is something that people generally don't discuss. There are two reasons. One is anything related to mental health is sort of a hush hush in society. And the second thing is also, again, society doesn't expect men to have feelings. I mean, they expect that men should have it all figured out. And I have a lot of people who come to me and say that I'm so happy to talk to you because I don't think my friends would understand, or I'm not comfortable opening up to my friends and showing them that maybe I don't know an answer. A lot of NRI men are in a situation where they feel that they have the shorter end of the stick, and women have a lot of options and they don't. So, the first thing is that India trip. They call it the December Ladki Dekhna trip, where a lot of Indian men visit India to find a match to marry. And it's a very lonely month for people who stay back in the US because they couldn't, and I'll just take US as an example here, but they feel very left out and they have this FOMO that, should I have been in India looking at girls because I'm losing time. It hurts, like when your friend comes back and says that, hey, meri set ho gayi, I found somebody, and you sort of feel like that you're left behind, like you're going to continue on that cricket on weekend again and again, and here's a friend who's moved on. It's not really moving on, but that's how you feel, is that they've gone ahead in their life and you haven't. There's also a sense of feeling like you deserve it, but other people who may not be deserving it in your eyes, we're not saying that they don't deserve it, but in your eyes you feel like you're a better person than someone else and they got married, and that sort of makes you feel a little sad about it. This could extend to non NRIs as well, like Indians in India. But in this context, why I want to highlight NRIs is because they live far away from family and there are different challenges living abroad. You don't have the same community support. You don't get to meet as many Indians as you would if you were to continue to work and live in India. And that's why it becomes a bit of a harder challenge. Now, life in America happens on weekends, as we all know. So that kind of makes you feel like you wish you had someone you could take that short road trip to for wine tasting or something. And when you see your friends holding hands with their wives, it sort of feels like, why not me? When will this end? There is a lot of comparison that in NRI women have it easier, NRI men have it harder. I don't want to go into those details. Everyone has their own challenges. But I do want to mention something. A comment that somebody had mentioned is NRI women are not aware of the competition back in India. It's not really a competition, but I just felt like it made me laugh because a lot of my friends and me always felt like, oh, we have an H1 and there are so many single men around. And sometimes we wondered why all our male friends were getting married to somebody they met in India and brought them to the US. And that used to confuse us. It's like, what's wrong with me? Men also have their problem because they have to decide really quickly. There's this pressure from family ki don't leave it hanging for too long, make a decision quickly, don't let it stretch out for 2 months, get engaged or something like that. And sometimes men need their time. Many people, it's not even gender specific, but mostly I've seen men need to step back and think about it. And maybe they don't get that sort of time, especially not only to think, but also to be with that person and spend time with them is a challenge. So here are some ways of coping, and these are the things I wish I did in the US. So first thing is that what is your goal? Do you have a higher goal? Find it, like work towards it, like a crazy person, and try to find it. I had a lot of things that I was working on. I just feel that it wasn't goal enough. It wasn't above me. You need something that is beyond you to make you feel like you've got something to work towards. I used to do a lot of food photography and running, but these are very personal hobbies. I was not able to make it into something that could have been a goal where I serve other people through that. So you need to find that thing. Second thing is acceptance, and it's like it's about being left behind. Now people just say that your path is different, don't worry, you'll find someone, and I feel that's just so lazy, to be honest. Why don't we grab the bull by its horns? Why don't we look at it in its face and say that yes, okay, if you want to call it left behind, yes, I am left behind. ठीक है. I'll just continue to do what the actions that I need to do to work towards the goal of finding someone. But just having that solace that you're a different person and sitting back, how is that helping? It's just making you feel better. Now rethink your assumptions. Now this is interesting because I also had a lot of assumptions that I used to have. I remember I used to stay away from men who have tattoos because I just felt like they're too open minded for me, too free spirited. And now, when I look back at that thinking, it was just so random. It's just so randomly assuming that someone with a tattoo would not make a good husband. It's just, there is no correlation, to be honest. There's nothing to say that, say, if a girl had a previous relationship, she won't make a good wife. Like, really, maybe she would make a better wife because she knows what mistakes to not make. So just rethink all your assumptions. And one thing that I've seen with a lot of men is that women with a higher total compensation, or women in the NRI women who are most successful, may not make good wives. I really feel like that you need to challenge that assumption that you're making, because there is no guarantee that somebody with a lower total compensation than you will come in and be a better wife. Thing is, the next point is relax your criteria. I know here I mentioned I'm not saying date a Russian, though that's not a bad idea, honestly. I had someone reach out to me and saying, what's wrong with dating a Russian? And that's the whole point. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it. But what I'm saying here is that if you're being super specific, like I want a girl who was brought up in Kolkata, and she has to be a Bengali, and just kind of open that criteria up a bit. And you could go incrementally, right? You can say, okay, maybe I just want a Bengali, but maybe from anywhere. She could have grown up in Bangalore. And then once you open that up, try and open it up to other languages as well. It's hard, but the sooner you do it, the better for you, I guess. Break boring dating patterns. I totally get this, where in the US, men are expected to pay. I think that's a conversation we need to have. I personally think that women should at least offer or split the bill on the first date, but that's just me. And I know a lot of men are also okay with paying. But if you feel that you don't want to go on many dates because you have to just keep paying, try and make it a fun date which doesn't require money. Something like going for a trek. So you get your exercise in also, and it's free. I mean, don't tell the girl that, but but it'll be fun. The other point is about hitting 30, and oh my god, this is such a milestone that people talk as if 30 is like the age you should die, when people just feel so afraid of being single at 30. And it just doesn't make any sense, because it's no different from being 29 or 31. The only thing is going to look is it's going to look up. You're going to get better, more mature. You're going to be earning more. So it's just better. You're going to become a better decision maker post 30. So why be afraid of being single after 30? It's not a conversation you should be having in your head in this century. I had read a statistic somewhere that if you are 32 and not married, congratulations, because you statistically avoided your first divorce. So remember that. And the last point is, married people say you're better off single. And I just feel like, why? Why are they saying that? Yes, it is better to be married. It is better to be married to the right person. And I feel like married NRIs need to really rein in their horses The literally the only way you can help your single NRI friends is by introducing them to someone else who's single and is a potential match for them. Literally, that's the only way you're going to help, by asking them about their dating life or trying to encourage them to find somebody is not only not helping, it's also annoying them. So I would request married NRIs to just take a step back and see how you could help your NRI friends. Anyway, I hope this helps you and makes you feel better. It's my mission to help NRIs lead a better and more optimized life. Thank you for listening.